Hello and welcome to the 9th episode of the Nature's Cozy podcast. My name is Allie and I am the maker behind Nature's Cozy. If you are new to my channel, thank you so much for checking out my, little space on the internet. This is a mostly knitting podcast with a little bit of crochet and sometimes sewing, although I do not have any sewing today, but hopefully next time. And for those of you who are not new, welcome back. I hope everyone has been doing well and trying to enjoy summer as best as we all can. I know it's been obviously hard with everything going on. I definitely feel like I would love to take some more trips to the beach if possible. I am coming at you from Chicago, Illinois, so I am right by Lake Michigan. Obviously, going to Lake Michigan and Chicago can be a bit crowded. But if my boyfriend and I, or if my friends and I usually go up to the northern suburbs, it's not as crowded. I've only gone a couple times. But now that people are kind of going back to work, I'm wondering if I can just maybe like switch a weekend and work a day on the, well, I could. I make my own schedule, but I'm just wondering if I should just try to work a full day on the weekend and then take a weekday off and try to go there, try to soak up some sunshine and just get outside. But besides that, I've been pretty much inside. It's actually been pretty humid here, really hot and humid, so it's kind of don't want to go outside. But then if you go by the lake, you have lake effect, you got the breeze, it's a little bit nicer. So that's what hopefully I'll be able to do at least another time this summer and try to enjoy the lake at least a little bit, hopefully, if I can find a non-crowded day. So I am currently finishing up my coffee. It is a little bit later on today. Today is July 10th. I like to say the date just to kind of, if I ever go back to these videos, I don't post them on the same day that I record. So today is Friday, July 10th. And my goal is to podcast every other Friday and get these videos up on Monday. So hold me accountable, people, because I really do enjoy it. I get kind of lazy setting everything up. So I am currently drinking my coffee out of my Disney World mug. I have been kind of on a Disney kick lately. No shame. I am a Disney fan. And in the summertime, it gets kind of strong. And I think because with everything going on and I'm not able to travel, my travel bug is huge. And I just kind of really want to go to Disney World. I'm not, obviously. Because, yeah, obviously. But, we'll see how next summer or the summer after that kind of looks like. Who knows, right? Everything's still up in the air. Alright, so we should just get straight into the making, huh? So the first thing that I kind of wanted to show were household items and then socks and then my I Smell Snow shawl. I've been working on kind of everything. The first thing that I kind of wanted to share though was a finished object, and that is my classic can cozy. And this was a test knit that I did for Natalie of Natty. And I actually really enjoy it. And I love that I can use self-striping yarn for a project outside of socks, because, we all have extra sock yarn, most of us anyways, if we are knitting socks. And we don't always know what to do with them. And I know with the self-striping yarn, when you put it in maybe like a granny stripe blanket or some other scrappy blanket, they don't always turn out the way that you knit them up with, unless I guess if you're doing a cozy memories blanket. And I have been buying a lot more LaCroix than what I usually buy, just so I can kind of use my skinny can cozy. She actually had, so if you were watching the last episode, you would have saw the skinny can cozy that I test knitted for Natalie, and she already had the classic can cozy and the classic bottle cozy released, but she wanted to make a self-striping version because she actually does like a little trick so that you don't see the purl bumps and the color change. And this yarn is the Cozy Knitter, and this is Kiss the Girl. and Ariel is my favorite Disney princess, just in case you were curious. And yeah, I think it's actually really great. So her yarn is, it's weird, so the Cozy Knitter, I can't think of her first name at the current moment, but her yarn is a little bit more rustic feeling for a superwash nylon blend, which is fine, which is great. So it's getting a little bit fuzzier up here, and I think that's because of the reason why. I also made it just a tad bit longer, I think, than what she actually wanted, but it doesn't sweat. Like, this holds all of the moisture in, so if I pull it out straight from the fridge and I just want to drink it from the can, don't worry about putting it in a glass. You hold on to this, no problem. So I think the really cool thing about these cozies is that if you know people who are sports fans and you want to make them like can cozies, you can always do them in their team colors and all of that. So yeah, super simple project, really fun to test knit, and kind of converted me to using cozies more, and I do want to make a couple more in the future. So the next thing that I have to show you are more household items, and that are dishcloths. I made little dishcloths. I crocheted them, and this one's like much bigger than these two. I'm not really sure what happened. I originally chained 20. They're all kind of lumpy. I don't really care. They're dishcloths. But yeah, so I haven't used a dishcloth in a very long time. We tend to use sponges, but I'm just kind of tired of using sponges, and I feel like this will just be a little bit more hygienic. Could be wrong, maybe people disagree with me, but yeah, I mean, just, you know, instead of throwing out a sponge once it's done, you could just rewash them and have like more, and you can like change them out quicker because you don't have to worry about buying them. So I used the Red Heart Scrubby and the green tea colorway. I bought this at Michael's. Michael's always has coupons online if you ever wanted to buy some. And yeah, I guess for those of you who make your own dishcloths, this is 100% cotton too, by the way. Like I said, I never made dishcloths. My mom used to crochet her own, and we used to use those growing up. But is there like a particular kind of yarn brand that you like for dishes? Maybe you use this and you don't like it. I do have another ball of this that's over there, so it's not really that big of a deal. But yeah, I'm just kind of curious to know if you've ever tried this yarn, if you like it, and if you don't like it, or if there's another scrubby brand that you like out there, because I kind of want to try them all. My boyfriend's not totally sold on these because he's just so used to like using a sponge. But yeah, we'll see. We shall see. So the next object that I would like to show you are, of course, socks. These socks I did not show on the last podcast because I hadn't started them yet. And these are actually for my sister for her birthday. She is turning 17 on July 15th. So yeah, she was making fun of me about giving knits as gifts after I already started these. Actually, I already finished these. And I'm like, you know what? You better like these socks, or else I'm not going to make her any more socks or anything knit. She's going to make fun of my knitting. No, but I think she actually will really like these. She does have a couple of pair of socks I've already knit her, and she also steals my mom's too. So I know she appreciates them. But this colorway was actually, I got in a fiber share package, and this is, I think that's probably better. This is Less Traveled Yarn in her Lost in New York, and this is her 757. It's 75% superwash nylon, 75% superwash merino, and 25% nylon. So this is her, like I said, Lost in New York. And yeah, I think I did, let's see, I did 20 rounds of twisted ribbing on the cuff, and then I did 60 on the leg. And I've knit my sister, I think I talked about this on the last podcast. I don't remember where I was on my sock, on my like summer sock in the last podcast, but in case I didn't, I just started doing the Fish Lips Kiss heel. So if you have never done the Fish Lips Kiss heel, but you actually would love to try it, I would say go for it. It's $1. Well, the pattern's on Ravelry, which I'll touch base about in a second, but I don't know if she has it not on Ravelry, but it's $1 on Ravelry, and I bought it when I first started learning how to knit socks, and I think I just felt really overwhelmed because in the beginning she gives you a lot of information about just like the heel and you know, measuring everything, and I was like, this is so much, I can't deal with this right now, this is too much. So but then this time around I did it on my summer socks, which I'll show in a little bit, and then I did these on my sister socks, and I just followed the pattern. Like, I just went straight to the pattern, and it is so easy, and I really hope that these fit well. I've knit my sister a heel flap and gusset. I've knit her an afterthought. It sounds like the heel flap was a lot better fit for her, so I'll have to see when she wears these to see how these fit. If this heel fits her well, then this will probably be my go-to heel for her. And I tried on my one sock that I have with the Fish Lips Kiss heel, and it seems to fit, but obviously I have to kind of wear it to see if it comes down, because that's the issue I have with my afterthought heels, is that I put them on just fine, but then after I wear them they just kind of slide. So that's something that I'm going to have to be mindful of. But yes, so you can kind of see here I did mess up on this heel though, because I dropped stitches, and that's the other thing I still kind of have to like figure out a little bit, is that I kind of pulled a little too hard and I lost stitches, and the way that you do the short rows on the heels is a little bit different than what I've done before. So just obviously I think in general with short rows, if you lose stitches, it's a pain. So I did mess up a little bit right there, but I think it's fine. I don't think you'll be able to tell too much. And yeah, so 20 on the cuff, 60 on the leg after that heel, and she wears about like an 8.5, 9. So the other interesting thing about the Fish Lips Kiss heel was that, at least for my sock, and I guess maybe for my sister's sock too, I'm not sure how much shorter I knit the foot on my sister's, but for mine, I knit like 10 rows shorter than what I usually knit, like, because I measured. Which, if those, I mean, I tried them on right before I closed up my toe and they fit. But if that's the case and I can like knit 10 rows less with the Fish Lips Kiss heel, that's even better. I'm on board, so hopefully they fit a lot, but yeah. And then these sock blockers are from the Knitting Left, and I will also link her shop as well. So everything that I talk about, if there is like a pattern for it, and also just my own like personal social media, will always be in the show notes. Now, for things that do have patterns, if the pattern is on a different website outside of Ravelry, I will also make sure to link that below as well, because I know Ravelry is having a lot of accessibility issues right now. I know I had to switch to the older version, but I know not everyone is even able to do that when they go onto Ravelry. So yeah, I will be mindful of doing that as well. And hopefully they fix that issue, because that would really suck if people can't use Ravelry anymore, because it is such a great like website to just find all the patterns and to keep track of all of the projects. And even, I don't use the forums very often, but when I do remember to use the forums, it's really great to kind of connect to other people as well. So I will make sure to have, like I said, both Ravelry and non-Ravelry links below. I also wanted to mention that I am going to link a video down below. Natalie from Natty, of course, made a video, I don't remember, it might have been last year to be honest, or maybe earlier this year before the whole Ravelry thing happened. She actually sells both her patterns on Ravelry and on Etsy, and then she made a video comparing the two platforms and sales and just like different fees and everything like that. I think it's super great to use Etsy, especially at this time, but I'll still link the video below in case anyone was curious about putting their patterns on Etsy, maybe trying to figure out if they should do like Etsy versus their own like website. So I'll link that below just in case anyone's interested. So the next thing that I have to show is kind of a knitting fail, which I'm kind of sad about. So if you have watched my past episodes, you will know that I have been working on the Mountain Mama socks by Emma from Bloom Creates. She just changed her name on Instagram. And I finished the pair. I blocked the pair. On the first sock, I actually knitted a bit too tight, and then when I blocked it, I still couldn't get it over my heel. And so I ended up cutting my floats and tying them, and then they went over my heel. I know that's not like a great way probably to do that, but it's what happened. And then for the second sock, I tried really hard to knit loose. And for the color work, I went up a needle size, so I went up to a US 2. And for the rest of the sock, I knit on a US 1. All of my socks I knit on US 1, which I believe is a 2.25 millimeter. And for these socks, I just went too loose, and then there's a couple rounds that were too tight on the second sock, and I just ended up cutting my floats again to try to tighten everything up and to loosen the few rounds that I did too tight. And you know what? It's just a mess. It was hard to get them over my heel. It was not very pretty looking when it was on my foot, the way it was stretched out. It was kind of holey, and you know, Indian yarn is cheap. And I just kind of looked at it and thought, okay, well, I can keep these socks and try to take a picture of them. And it's nothing to do with the pattern itself. It just has to do with my incompetence in knitting color work right now. I would highly recommend the pattern if you are confident in your color work skills. I didn't realize that I had crappy skills until I started doing it. But yeah, so they are the Mountain Mama socks, and I decided to just cut them off. So I cut them and I made shorty socks. So the cuff is not blocked, so it's a little wonky. I probably won't block them because why? And I guess I have like a small little gap by the heel. Maybe I could just fix that real quick. No. Okay. Well, I have a small heel, like gap by the heel, so don't mind that. But yeah. So this is Playful Day Yarns in her steel sock. It was a sock set, but this is kind of. It's really, really pretty. It's super like it's just like softly variegated. There's a lot of colors in here, but it's just blends. It's very kind of like watercolory. Maybe I don't know. Sometimes it's so hard to kind of like talk about the way the colors work, but yeah. I hope that's coming up. I always kind of forget that what I see on my viewfinder, right? Is actually picking up the color a little bit different, that my actual camera does a really good job of picking up color. And majority of the time when I'm like, I don't think it's showing up correct, it is. So I'm hoping it's showing up correct. But yeah, so I made them into shorty socks, and I cut off the tops, and I technically have a finished pair of socks, but they just weren't the socks that I thought were going to be. And so this was the first was this the first one? Yeah, this was the first sock that I knit. They were kind of like too tight, and you can see that they're still kind of holey, kind of puckering. I tried my best with them, but you know, it is what it is. And then this one was the second pair, and like I said, I tried to tie the floats to make them tighter, and I maybe that made them worse. I don't know. It's just a mess, really. So, you know, knitting doesn't always go the way we plan it to go. I think what I'm going to do is, because I've done super simple color work on hats before in the past, didn't think I had any issues. So I think what I'm going to do is just try to find a pattern that's maybe I carry my, like the colors not so far apart, so maybe just every few stitches, so that way I don't have to carry my floats, and then just kind of work out my tension in regards to color work, and then kind of come back and relearn the floats. I did try a different method in carrying my floats for the second round, or for the second sock, but obviously I still sucked. So yeah, that's that. Those are my socks. Kind of a bummer. I feel bad. I felt really bad that I just kind of failed, but everything's lesson learned, right? So, but what is bringing me joy is my I Smell Snow shawl. So this is in my Fringe Supply field bag, and might have a little bit of lint and stuff because this is the wax canvas. Great color. Hate the wax canvas. I have all of my little pins from just different makers. Sorry if the lighting's kind of weird. I try to like pump it up a little bit, like my brightness, but I also know that the sunlight is fluctuating outside a bit. So so my Luke's coffee mug is where with the little Pop-Tart. That is from Simply Serving. So cute, guys. If you are it's all tangled though. If you are here we go, Gilmore Girls fan, I mean, if you don't have this, then what are you doing? No, I'm just teasing. But that's actually how much I've done since the last time that I podcasted, which was actually 14 days ago, even though this is going up a little bit later. So it'll be like almost 3 weeks, I guess, since the last time my other podcast went up. Yeah. So I think I've done, like I said, a pretty decent amount of job knitting these past couple weeks, because I've also been just trying to focus more on work and actually getting stuff done on my research for school. But yeah, so I kind of knit a lot on this yesterday because I was stress knitting, but it's funny because I actually knit these on Wednesday and crochet these on Wednesday, and then afterwards I just did like a row on this, and this is a cashmere base as well. And I knew it was always soft, but it like after I worked with that and I started working on this, I was just like, oh my god, this is so squishy, this is so soft. Why did I never realize just how soft it was? Yeah, so it's like I'm making progress, but I still have so much to knit because this is a massive shawl. It takes up a total of 4 skeins, so I really could have made a sweater. That's fine. And fortunately I'm decreasing now, so it just gets smaller and smaller, but you can see I still have a ways to go before I'm done. So, but I have done a lot. So the yarn that I'm using is Plucky Knitter on their like fingering cashmere base. It's called Primo Fingering, and it is a 75 or is it a 70? I think I have, yes. It is a 75 superwash merino, 20% cashmere, and then a 5% nylon. So the cream color with all the speckles, I think you can kind of see all those speckles. This is Home Buddy. And then the brownish color is called Moody Mahogany. And the really interesting thing about this, I'm just gonna chit chat about this shawl. I am alternating skeins, although obviously I used a lot more of this before I started alternating this one. But the really interesting thing about this shawl is when I originally started the shawl, it was last December, so I bought the yarn maybe last October or something like that, and even though I enjoyed this tonal, I was so in love with this speckled yarn, Home Buddy, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to knit on that, blah, 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 blah. And I still love it. I still love this color, but I'm actually more drawn to the brown part of the shawl. And that just might be a little bit more of my taste too, because I've started to get more into tonals, and especially when thinking about garments, pretty much like everything outside of socks, because socks I just go buck wild. Doesn't matter what it is, but yeah, so I just kind of, I don't know, just kind of interesting how even though I'm still enjoying knitting this, I'm still more drawn to the more, the moody mahogany. And the other thing that is kind of interesting, I know last time on the podcast I mentioned how my boyfriend, so Nick and I were watching Avatar, and I was knitting, which we finished. It's so sad, but it's a great show. And so I was knitting on this, so when I look at it, it kind of reminds me of Avatar. And I don't know if I mentioned this in the last podcast. I meant to check before I started talking about this shawl, but it's fine. So if anyone's not aware, I Smell Snow is a Gilmore Girls reference. That's why I have my little Gilmore Girls coffee and Pop-Tart progress keeper on here. And this yarn actually kind of reminds me of coffee, but also like summer, even though this is more wintry. So at first when I kind of made the change, I saw like two things. I either saw, well, this is what I saw. I said, this reminds me of like a cappuccino in a way, like, right, you have kind of the foam with the espresso, or it reminds me of ice cream, like chocolate ice cream and then coffee ice cream, which is great. I mean, it's a perfect reminder just because it is summer, and I don't know, I like things that remind me of summer while I'm working on them in summer, even though this is not really a summer garment. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny how this was just reminding me of summer and coffee. I didn't pick the colors because it reminded me of coffee, but I think it really fits. It really fits the theme of the shawl, even though I just kind of realized that after the fact. So that is my I Smell Snow shawl. That is it for my actual projects that I've been working on this past couple weeks. I do have a little bit of stash acquisition though, and then I'm going to talk about books and some other non-knitting things that are bringing me joy. So one of the things that I actually bought prior to the last time I podcasted. I just didn't show it, but I think I'm going to show it this time around because I am kind of excited for it. And it's a whole sack of cotton yarn. So I got this from, it's Paintbox Yarn, and it is their cotton DK, and I really want to try making, I believe it's Amigurumi or Amigurumi, I think it's Amigurumi. Yeah, so I still have to buy like a couple more colors that I didn't grab last time, but I just really want to learn how to make them. There is this, so remember how I mentioned I'm kind of on a Disney kick right now. There is this one maker, I don't know her first name, but her username is Chiara Crafts, and she has all of these really awesome Disney princesses for free. Now, when I skim the pattern, I'm a little like, whoosh, like this is kind of, I definitely will be concentrating on it because I am not a huge crocheter, and crochet kind of confuses me sometimes whenever I read patterns. I'm definitely more of a visual person, but I actually came across so I was looking at different videos for amigurumi, and someone made like a little bumblebee, and my best friend is having a baby soon and she loves bees, so I bought some yarn to make the bumblebee and kind of follow the tutorial, so then that way I can kind of start out this whole adventure doing that. I still need to buy some polyfill before I start, so yeah, I'm really excited. As I mentioned before, Ariel's my favorite, so I really want to make her, and Moana is also my favorite too, so I want to make a Moana, and then I want to make my sister a couple, and some of my cousins also I want to make them some too because they're younger. My My one cousin who reads all the books though, I'm gonna make her a bell for her little bookshelf because she loves Belle and I think it just fits. So yeah, that's what I want to do. That's what I'm hoping to do. I did buy, actually, this isn't like, it's not really quality, but I bought like a little crochet set on Amazon. And if I get more into crochet, I'll definitely invest in like better hooks, but I just kind of wanted to find a bunch of hooks on a budget. And so it came with this, so this was $15 on Amazon, and it came with this little case. It came with all of these hooks, and then it came with like a little measuring tape and little holders, little stitch, like, yeah. And then also all of the darning needles. So, yes. Again, I don't really, you know, are the hooks like the best quality? Probably not, but it works for what I need to do until I get better at crochet, and then I can slowly invest in better ones, and then who knows, maybe these will work out a lot better than what I originally expected them to work out. The next yarny goodness that I wanted to show is my Explorer Knits National Park Club colorway, and this month was Arches National Park, so this was kind of one of the inspiration photos. And she always does like a little quote on the back about the national park, and it's so pretty. I think this has to be a hat because, yeah. But it is just super glorious. This is on her Denali sock base, so this is a 80/20. And yeah, I love it so much. I was thinking about making, I think, the Oslo hat by Petite Knit, and you have to hold it with mohair, so I'm not 100% sure. I really love this color and I really love mohair, but I'm a little bit nervous because she doesn't have like a mohair version of this colorway that whatever color I might choose, you know, obviously like when you add mohair, it changes like the color of the overall of the skein, so I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to do that yet, but it's super pretty. And then the next thing that I have to show are my other club colorways, and this is from Woolberry Fiber Co, and this is her Lord of the Rings club. So we are on 2 towers now, on the 2 towers, and I do it where I get both skeins. She tries to do like a tonal and one that's speckled, and the speckled ones have been either like very lightly speckled or like a lot of speckling. It's kind of been a mix, but these are, I love these colors so much, but they also remind me very much of Christmas. So this is Rohan. And then this is Fangorn Forest. Both of these colors are also on her berry sock base. So this is her 80% superwash BFL and 20% nylon. And then all of the Lord of the Rings colorways that I've gotten in the past are also on the same base. And I'm still leaning towards making the Penguono by Stephen West for all of these colors, and also holding it with mohair. I think most of them will actually work really, really well. I've been talking to my friend Avi about it. We like do like Zoom knit chats, so she's making her Penguono is awesome because it's using a lot of like knit collage yarn in there as well. But yeah, so she's kind of also encouraging me to do the Penguono and kind of selling me on the idea. Yeah, I really, really love these colors. So that is it for yarn. I also bought a new progress keeper. I was really trying not to buy any more progress keepers, but I saw Natalie from Natty have this progress keeper, and I just needed to copy her. Actually, I really love these this ice cream. It just reminds me of summer and being at the park. I mean, obviously it's ice cream, so I think ice cream in general reminds people of summer. This is by, oh, I believe it's the Sweet Cherry shop. I will link her Etsy down below. But I used to play softball for a very long time. My sister plays softball, and it just reminds me of just being at the park, you know, hearing the ice cream truck come by, and this little strawberry one, and there's also like the chocolate version. I forget exactly what these are called, but those are like my favorites. So I actually heard the ice cream truck over here because we have a park, like a very small park down the block. And I grabbed like a couple singles and I looked, and I didn't find it. I was like, congrats. So I just want one ice cream bar like this, and that's it. That is it for like knitting and knitting related things. I'm going to talk about books, and I also kind of want to share my new planner. But if that's not your cup of tea and you just kind of want to like end it here, totally understand. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you like my podcast, if you want to give it a like, or if you want to see more of me, you can hit the subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Yeah, and I will see you next week. But for those of you who are interested in the reading and other things, let's chit chat about them. So I have finished 2 books this past couple months, and I actually listened to them. So if you have been a watcher of my podcast in the beginning, you know that I'm usually not a fan of audiobooks. And the one book I finished, I think sucked, and I hated the audiobook. But I kept forgetting to read it. And both of these books were for book club, the book club that I'm a part of. And so I knew that I needed to finish it, and that was The Beekeeper's Apprentice by Lori R. King. And I gave it like 2 stars out of 5. It is a like spin-off from Sherlock Holmes. So it's this woman, or this girl, she's 15 when she starts, but then she like goes through college. And so I know this is a whole series, so I know she gets older. I know some spoilers, which I think are kind of weird in the book series, to be honest. But it is essentially this female who, her name is Mary Russell, and she becomes Sherlock Holmes' apprentice. And their relationship is weird. The book was okay. The author herself, she can write, so that's why I didn't give it a 1 star. However, I think she writes too much filler. But she's a good writer. She just writes a lot of stuff that isn't important. And she also just like needs to get to the point of this book. And I did listen to the audiobook, and it was like an older English woman, and I don't know if maybe that also has something to do with it, because she just read it. I mean, I tried to speed it up a little bit, but I don't know. It just wasn't my cup of tea. I just did not enjoy the book, and I think most of the people in my book club also did not enjoy the book. But the second book that I listened to, which we're going to talk about this Sunday, is called The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes, and that book was amazing. And it actually was the first fiction book that I listened to that I really enjoyed. I was like listening to this as I'm like doing dishes and feeding my cats and just cleaning and getting ready. And I loved how versatile it was, that I could actually do that, and like while I'm knitting, while I can do that. And the narrator was a really good narrator. I ended up giving the story 4 out of 5 stars. What it is it followed the like pack horse library. So it's a historical fiction book, and it is based in Kentucky, and it kind of follows the initiative of just like a traveling library. And so it's like this female library, they're like riding horses in like the mountains and in the like town of Kentucky, of this town in Kentucky. And it's, yeah, I would highly recommend. I would say that the ending, I'm gonna give like a slight spoiler. I'm not gonna give anything away, but there is a like trial at the end, and it wasn't necessarily the trial that I was against. It was just what the trial was about was kind of, I felt more like a filler. I feel like there could have been a trial, but a different, I don't want to give anything away, but there's there's like, I just think that it could have been a different kind of trial, and it would have like tied the story together better. Whereas this trial was just kind of like, oh, it's here, and it's like, okay. But overall though, I did really, really enjoy the story. I would highly recommend. Yeah, great narrator. Now I gotta really try to find more audiobooks like that and start consuming them a little bit more. I did actually start reading that book on my ebook because I had like an e-version of it, but I have like a very old Nook and I just wasn't really enjoying reading it on there. I also had a version on my tablet, which worked out fine because I can now knit and read, so I'm really happy about that. But I don't know, I just was kind of, I just didn't want to like stare at a screen while I'm reading. I stare at a computer all day for work, and I just didn't want to stare at it while I'm trying to wind down and read. But I really love physical books as well, and I really loved that I kind of can not think about knitting while I'm reading, at least for socks or, you know, just regular, at least simple like knit stitches. So yeah, I think I'm gonna buy like one of those book stands where you can like prop the book on, and for my physical books, and kind of like read my physical books because I have a lot of books, and then also try to knit. So I will keep you posted when that happens. And then the other, I'm actually also reading Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I started that book a while ago, and I've been just reading it here and there. Last fall, I decided that I really wanted to reread the whole Harry Potter series, and I have a lot of Harry Potter yarn, so while knitting some sort of Harry Potter yarn, I wanted to read one of the books. And yeah, I mean, it's Harry Potter. But the thing that I really kind of have been enjoying about the book is the nostalgia it really brings back, because I bought like a newer version of the book set last year, but obviously like the illustrations in the beginning of the chapters are all the same, and I don't know, when I like flip open to it, it just brings back all these memories of being a kid. So I've really been kind of enjoying that, and so I'm going to try to finish up Chamber of Secrets hopefully this week, and maybe another book or two by the end of July. So hopefully I'll have some more to talk about in the next episode. I know I kind of go through the books maybe a little bit fast. I'm not a booktuber, but I just kind of want to do like a quick, like I liked it and here's like a short premise, so if you're interested in that, maybe you'll enjoy that too. And that's it that I have for this week. I originally was going to talk about my planner and kind of show you guys that, but I don't have very much memory left on my camera, so I'm just going to do like, you know, a clean of my camera and put what I need to on my laptop. And then next week I will talk about my planner for those of you who are also fellow planners and like those kind of things. But yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed my podcast, and I hope you guys have a very fantastic day, weekend, and I hope that you're able to at least get outside for a little bit and enjoy the sunshine. And if you live by the mountains, go for a hike, or by the forest, go by a hike, and if you live by the beach, maybe you can go for a swim. And just, you know, try to enjoy summer as best as you can in the certain conditions that we are all in. So have a fantastic day and happy making to everyone, and I will see you next time.